Two Virginia women report extraordinary stories of being abducted together by aliens for more than 40 years. Anna Jamerson and Beth Collings, not their real names, claim these so-called paired abductions are ongoing to this day. Beth is a professional horse trainer, lecturer, and farm manager. She works for Anna, who owns a horse farm, and is also a consultant for the U.S. Forest Service.
I'm not entirely sure how many experiences Anna and I shared. We can account for somewhere close to 30 or 40 from early childhood.
On a December evening back in 1991, Beth was headed for Anna's farm where she lived while teaching horseback riding. Having driven this stretch uneventfully many times before, nothing hinted that this trip might be different, but it was.
I saw lights in the sky. I thought it was a plane that was in trouble, yet the lights were not coming toward me or moving away. They seemed to be stationary.
Curious, Beth parked and got out. Above her, the lights shone with an unearthly intensity. She hoped to catch a glimpse of a fuselage of a plane or a helicopter. And then it struck her. There was no sound, as you'd expect, just silence.
And the lights were frightening, and I couldn't understand why that was familiar to me, and I wanted to run as fast as I could, and yet I couldn't move. I had to see. Within a blink of an eye, I was surrounded by light that seemed to be coming from these lights in the sky, very close overhead at that point, and again, within the blink of an eye, I was not there.
Instead, Beth was back on the road more than an hour later. Beth says she assumed she was having a nervous breakdown. In desperation, she sought out the help of her close friend and employer, Anna Jamerson.
My first reaction was that she'd been working too hard, so I needed to stay home from work and give her some time off, and she would get herself back together and things would go on as normal.
But things didn't go on as normal. Beth had another disturbing experience on a drive home from a business engagement. Again, there were lights and a period of time she couldn't account for.
After the second time, I knew there was something definitely wrong, that it wasn't that she was losing her mind, that something else was going on, because she had seen bright lights in the sky both times.
At that time, Anna knew little about UFOs. She and Beth had once seen some unusual lights over the barn, but she didn't think much about it. Now, she became concerned.
I knew I couldn't handle it. We couldn't handle it together. And I knew somehow to look up in the phone book UFO, and I did.
This was this stable, down-to-earth woman who found a phone number listed under UFOs, of all places.
Anna eventually spoke with one of the organization's leaders, Richard Hall. After meeting with them, he agreed to study Beth's case.
They're quite intelligent, they're quite articulate. They're not New Age ding-a-lings. These are human beings, intelligent people in important professions, very responsible people.
I thought it would be, they'd come out and interview her and tell us that, gee, yeah, we've heard of this happening. It happens, you know, once, maybe twice if you're really lucky. And then you have great stories to tell your friends, and it never happens again. Unfortunately, they didn't tell us that.
Instead, Hall was non-committal. He gave the women no encouragement in either direction, despite his own views.
This is something, I have a long background in straightforward UFO sighting investigations, and have become convinced some time ago that it appears that we have visitors from somewhere. And it's just one step from that on to, well, maybe they really are tinkering with us.
Hall suggested Beth undergo hypnosis. The regressions triggered a flood of conscious memories for her. Frightening images emerged from other abductions as well.
But I was lying on a table, on my back, and my head was placed in a kind of restraint, and I saw this instrument coming down toward my face. I was terrified, first of all. Secondly, when I realized what they were going to do with this pronged instrument, I couldn't believe it.
Beth claims she could feel the pressure of her eyeball being pulled free of the socket, and that it was extremely painful. Unconcerned, the aliens went about their business.
Something was done behind the eyeball, some procedure behind the eyeball that I could feel but I couldn't see, obviously. The eyeball was then in some way reinserted or replaced in the socket.
Beth's accounts were disturbing. Yet equally striking were Anna's strong emotional reactions to them. Hall suggested that she, too, undergo hypnosis.
I screamed because right in front of my eyes, the first thing I saw when I was hypnotized, and she took me back to the time when the headache started, I had huge black eyes right here in front of me.
Unsettling flashbacks, dreams, and partial memories. Many concerning, disturbing medical procedures are typical of those who believe they've been abducted.
They seem to continue to put probes and either inject stuff or take stuff out of the back of my head from my brain. They ram stuff up my nose. They have burst my eardrum. I've had holes in my head, behind my ear. I've had stuff injected into my veins and my arms.
Skeptics of alien abductions often point to the seemingly crude nature of the medical procedures described by Anna and other purported alien abductees. Is this further evidence of the human imagination at work?
In every case, what the people report are a distillation of their own experiences. You know, the flash of light, the blinding light, the beam that pulls you up, and so on. These are your own experiences. This may not be the way a real advanced civilization would do it.
And skeptics ask, why would the aliens invest time and attention in duplicating such trivial experiments?
If there's a superintelligence out there, they don't have to abduct people. They can know everything there is to know from one drop of blood by one person.
I will say that in the case of Beth and Anna and many other abductees that we've studied around this area, we have seen physical evidence. We have seen the markings on the body that are so common.
Critics say that the markings Hall refers to may well be ordinary scars and not compelling evidence of alien contact. In fact, as Hall admits, there is no physical evidence that would stand the test of scientific scrutiny. Even abductees have their doubts.
I'm always questioning the validity of my experiences. I'm always questioning what I remember, because memory is in itself fallible.
I don't think it's likely that we're going to find proof, absolute proof in a strict scientific sense, that people seem to demand anytime soon.
But even without evidence, Beth and Anna claim to have been snatched a combined total of over 100 times. They believe that often they were abducted together.
The same things will happen to us the same nights. When we're abducted, we'll go through the same program together, but there are still times when she'll be abducted and I won't, or I'll be abducted and she won't. Or once we're abducted together, we'll be separated somewhere during the experience and then come back alone.
Together or alone, Beth and Anna say one thing seems certain: the abductions will go on. Next, both women tell us the astonishing story of their own experiences with artificial insemination and alien-human hybrids.